And welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture, joined by another one of the Dadley Boyz, Michael Sidgwick from WhatCulture, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Sidgwick, Michael Hamlet being a very good parent today, hence his lack of appearance on the podcast, here to talk about AEW Dynamite and all the fallout from All In.
Indeed. Question, though, would Hamlet be such a good parent if this thing that you had to do was a Tuesday?
Good point.
Or would he get Adele to do it? Who knows? Who knows? No, he's banging to AEW right now. I'd be curious to get his thoughts on this episode in particular. His thoughts.
Thanks.
His thoughts on this episode in particular, because this is the sort of thing that Michael Hamlet lives for. Table setting,
yes.
Future directions, what's next, get me interested in the story and the characters and all the rest of it. I don't want to put words in his mouth. Can't fit them in for crisps. But I suspect he would be encouraged, if not blown away.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? When you are building this huge annual stadium show that all the major storylines point towards, and you build it over the long term with a company-defining storyline, and then the Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournaments, and every major character seems to dovetail. And they did a deft job with it this year. It is their version of this is WrestleMania. This is All In as WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It is unmistakably the biggest event of the year. And on top of them doing Owens the Rumble, All In's the Mania, they've even done the Avengers thing brilliantly well, despite my worries this year. And then they have this huge week, WrestleMania week. They are copying the homework, if you want to be completely cynical, but not inaccurate about it, right? With the Ring of Honor show on the Friday and and conventions and fan fests and the whole bit. They're doing a WrestleMania build, a WrestleMania show, a WrestleMania week. Is it too much then to expect a Raw after WrestleMania?
We talked about this yesterday, yeah.
Indeed. Did we get that? No, we didn't. Are those expectations fair? Possibly.
We sort of got the Raw after WrestleMania, didn't we?
Indeed. It's one of those shows where, because, like, thematically and, you know, in terms of the calendar and the schedule, so much of this was basically them telling you, we're doing a WrestleMania now. And, you know, it's great. Look at the impact it had on the storylines and where the characters are. Like, wrestling is all about the next thing, hence why Hamlet has been fixated on it and never once ever stopped watching or went on a dark period. No. It's all about the next thing, destination booking, what's next. So you'd think then that they would give you a really strong idea of what's next. They didn't. This show, there were matches, moments, little sparks of creativity that I really, really enjoyed. Maybe if this was the second or third episode after All In, I'd be like, we're just settling back into, not a boom, but a new artistic resurgence in AEW. I don't know, man. This is a really long way of saying I kind of expected a major angle. You all right there, pal?
The microphones.
Are you bored?
Collapsed.
Are you bored, mate? If you never watch this on YouTube, for blocking purposes, we have an inflatable WWE microphone sitting in Hamlet's chair, and I have an irrational hatred of it.
Yeah. You chinned it once, and you made it land on the chair.
Yeah, I'll chin it again as well if it keeps looking at me like that. I expected a major angle.
I suppose in AEW's defense, somewhat, when we talk about the Raw after WrestleMania, you think about, like, yes, a major angle. I agree with you on that point. But you also think about, like, major returns. But we kind of got that already All In with the big ending with the Hangman Page thing and, like, Cope and what have you.
Indeed. And it's one of those things where, like, WWE doesn't have a patent on everything.
No.
And AEW shouldn't necessarily take everything, nor much at all,
No.
from WWE. But ultimately, this is not a WWE thing. After you do one major show, you should probably shoot something pretty major to indicate, the next show's going to be just as big, guys, even if it isn't, I don't think we got quite enough of that. And again, like this Raw after WrestleMania thing, I feel like I'm going to annoy people by evoking that comparison. And look, again, it could fly in the face of stuff that I've been saying. Like, I don't necessarily want a big debut or a signing for the sake of it.
No.
We have been seeing who's left since genuinely 2020. And look who they've managed to get since, like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Shibata, Sting, like people you legitimately thought for all manner of reasons were impossible. So there's probably still someone out there. Don't do it for the sake of it. The roster's nice in terms of its hierarchy right now, so I don't necessarily need it for the sake of it. I just expect it to be a little bit more, oh God, we're getting that as well. And the main event of this show looked weird, and are we sure about that when we saw the match graphic? And I still had those questions after it ended.
Yeah, I think people went in. Some people might have been slightly disappointed as well, because I think they went in thinking, right, what's going to happen is here is the Death Rider going to lose again and be like, we need to get rid of Mox and finish him off. And you both said that's not happening tonight.
No, but I thought you get just thought you get something out of this. And there's a particular reason, which I'll get into when we discuss the match itself, where I thought the idea and the execution was just a weird misfire. Before we get into it segment by segment, will you permit me an analogy?
Yes.
This wasn't the Raw after WrestleMania. You know what this was? And this was a good and bad thing, right? This is such a tortured analogy. I'm sorry. You have a big night out. It's, in your either at uni, early 20s, shared house, living with the boys.
Oh my God.
Those were the days with the boys. And I'll tell you what we did as well. You would go on your big night out with the weekend, if in your young professional era, living with the boys, and you'd just get absolutely mortal drunk. Statistically very improbable that you pull.
Mm-hmm.
So you go home and get your pizza, write it off, and then the next day, brutally hungover, you decide to get your pub lunch and a few beers. This is like hungover drinks Dynamite of Allin. What I mean by that is they still wanted to live in the world. They still wanted to just reflect on how great Allin was. So you had, Hangman Page and Mox are going again. You get to see your new champions. You get to see your still champions in Tony Storm. And wasn't Allin great? Let's reflect on Allin just for one more day. Hungover Pints Dynamite. Do you know what I mean?
I can't believe how much you've nailed this, because I've literally just lived this. Slightly different, bit older, not as much staying power, but I've just been on a 3-night stag last weekend. And
a bachelor party.
That was Saturday for us, because we went. It was like just the core group, all the school friends on the Thursday. £2 pints.
Way.
Oh my God.
Cabin with a K.
Jesus, what is this? 1998?
Cabana's where we were staying in Newcastle. Have an adjacent bowl. I've been there a few times to watch the football a few years ago, and I arrived a week ago today, sort of 6 o'clock, and they're like, get around in. It's £12 for the 6 of us to get a pint. Okay.
Yeah.
They're like, we've had about 5 already. Went out that night, we're not going to go too mad because, everyone's arriving tomorrow, but we're going to drink £2 pints and then go to Quayside Spoons. And then I was like, let's just go up Big Market. That's fine there. We went to like Filthy's and Passing Clouds, and then Cozy Joe's is over there. Do you want to go Cozy Joe's? And I got some shawarma.
Oh
my God.
Lamb shawarma is delicious.
What did you say to me in the old office when you got a lunchtime delivery of shawarma and put it on the kitchen table on which I was sat?
I'd never had it before at the time, I don't think. Is that what you're talking about?
No, you did a bit.
Did I do a bit? Hang on, wait a second.
So you just walked over, delighted that you scran, that your food had turned
I only
up.
had it when we were in the office. I'd never had it before.
And you'd put it on my desk.
Shawarma.
This was an expression of happiness that your shawarma had turned
I
up.
thought it was going to be I'm shawarming to you. No.
No.
Go on. What was it?
It was a bit of wordplay.
Go on.
So, the food's here. Get in, I'm starving, and it smells amazing. And so it was always Fridays you would do it. I was paying, I was losing my ass on nursery fees at the time.
Yeah.
So I did not go in for
I'd not be doing that nowadays.
So not going for the Friday 20 quid food delivery option. I was losing my ass at nursery fees. So Wilborn comes in, delighted that he's got his shawarma. It smells delicious. His hunger's about to be satisfied. It's a lovely week. And he's like, relatively new job. That's going really well. It's loads of fun. He couldn't be happier unless he got a pop. That would really put it over the edge. So he's got his food. He's got his cool job that he likes.
Film the news, then I've gone around and bothered you two playing pool. Yeah. That's how our friendship started, basically.
Indeed. And then it's like, oh, God, so I've done my work for the afternoon, for the morning. Cool new job. If I could just get a pop this day, it would be perfect. But the shawarma right in front of me. Wham, bam, thank you, lamb.
That's good stuff.
He loves his own crack. He loves his own banter. Look, he's absolutely creased in it.
I remember that. I'll have that again in a few weeks.
But hungover pints where it's like, we're still living in the all-in world. You're going to get a little... It just felt like this Hangman Page, John Moxley thing, where I thought, surely they're not running it back that early. And I know they barely interacted, but it just looked... Are you sure about this?
Yeah.
It just felt like they just wanted to live in and celebrate the extravagant, critical and commercial success of AEW and what it really means about All In, what it really means about this new state of the company. It just felt like they wanted to relive the other night.
Yeah, because we had that. Then Friday, everyone arrives. We're a bit hungover, but I woke up at 12:30 on Friday.
I'd have a panic attack if I woke up that late.
Couldn't believe it. I was like, I'm not setting an alarm. I'll wake up at like 10 when everyone else wakes up. And me and the other lad who's got a kid around the same age just woke up in our like hostel room. Like 12:30. What's going on? We probably got back later than we realised, but
we used to go to an establishment called the Corner House in Heaton. Hopefully the food has improved. I'm about to bury it after our nights out in the shared house in Newcastle. And you could either get an Italian chicken, which is just grilled chicken breast with some tinned tomatoes and cheese over it.
Yeah.
This is before I'm an old guy. This is before like food got really hip over the last like 15, however many years. Or you could have a burger, and I swear to God, I once got this burger, right? This is again pre-brioche. For all of these trends, and everyone had to go out. Everyone has to do nice food now, otherwise we're completely out of business. It was like a bun. I picked it up, and the top split in half. It was that stale. Great. I'll get a Chinese later. Fantastic. But the beers went down a tree.
Yeah. So we did, but then waking up then, I'd obviously like slept through the hangover or only needed a little bit of food, and then people arrive and the mood picks up. Friday night, big. You know, everyone's on it. Saturday, it was just like a constant thing of like, we're going to get past this. We're going to get past this. And we're going to go, we went to a bottomless brunch on Saturday. It was lush. Alfie's in Newcastle. And then like, just slowly throughout the night, people were just like, I might call it, you know. It's like the Saturday night.
Yeah.
No one ever goes big on the Saturday because they've just won themselves out. But yeah, especially a good comparison.
At this age. Yeah, it's just like you do the hungover drinks the day after, and it's not the same.
No.
Because the night's gone. You're talking about the night, not the day. You've got work the next day. Like the real work begins like it does with AEW like next week and in the weeks to come, now that they've told you, look, we're back, so people are going to have the expectation that we're back. And it's the hungover drinks of, oh, God, wasn't that night great? I just want to latch onto it that little bit more. I know it's not the best idea because the real work begins, everyone's back at work and everything, but wasn't that great? Let's hold on to it. And that's what I felt watching this.
But that's me now. It's me detoxing now until Saturday, the wedding. So that's going to be chaos, and that's going to be stories. The stories we're allowed to tell, at least. I had one part of this show that really confused me.
I thought that my mind went to you immediately on this show. where I thought, oh, God, poor Wilborn's not going to have a bloody clue what she's talking
I
about.
was baffled, and you're absolutely right.
Fully baffed.
Fully baffled. We'll get to that. And before we get to Hangman Page's brilliant opening promo to open the show, your thoughts on where they were? Because
Oh, my God.
we loved it.
Actually, I think everyone has this opinion these days, but just in case, like, I love all of the listeners and viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love 99.5% of you, okay? But there's always some, rotten apples spoil the bunch. You just cannot understand reasoned critique.
Don't hurt me.
Sacrilege Corner. It's a better Hammerstein than the Hammerstein. I'm not saying it's as iconic as the Hammerstein. I'm not saying this show is going to be as fondly remembered as the ECW shows of yore. What were they thinking painting that sucker grey? Are you stupid or are you dumb? You've made it look like 1960s British brutalist architecture. It looks like a car park in a run-down provincial town decimated by Tory rule. That's what you've done. That is what you have done by painting it grey. The Hammerstein Ballroom looks dystopian. Looks as grey as Triple H's imagination. The Hammerstein Ballroom these days, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This looks like you got that beautiful, ornate, Hammerstein-coded look. I thought this looked wonderful.
The Timeless Tony Storm promo I thought was just perfect.
Oh, my God. Perfect. Sorry, if in case I forget to say this when we come to cover it, and I know this isn't true considering there was just one women's match on Dynamite, and I know Hangman opened the show, but I love the choice of having Hangman open, and yes, it fits in with like Tony Storm's like cinematic theatrical character, but the fact that she looked like she had the biggest space lording over everyone, she like visually looked like the biggest star, like this building had been made for it. I just loved the location of her promo.
I really like the sort of black and white and red. So anyone wearing red in the crowd's picked out. That's the cool look.
I'm sorry, I knew there was something you want to say, and you're probably going to forget it by the time I say this.
No, I can't remember.
Sorry, mate.
It's all right. I do it all the time
we
for you.
should get notepad.
Yes.
And the next time say, just quickly, I'm going to write it down.
Yeah.
I will say this. This building looked so beautiful in and of itself. I know there was like a tiny little corner. I'm so glad that they had the sense to not make it look too LED-y.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would have just cheapened that beautiful building that they were playing in front of.
I remember what I was going to say. I understand, and there's some idiots out there sort of dunking on AEW or people saying like 20-odd K to this. Well, yeah, I understand. It would have been nice to go from
don't counter program it then
to 21K to
let them grow
to 10,000 the night after or the week after or whatever. But I'd much rather what we had last night than, as we always say, like the basketball arena, and then be like, well, let's keep this shot nice and tight. I like random venues like this.
Look beautiful. It's intimate. They're going to get the similar amount of people anyway. Don't pretend
They can
that
have
you've
some
got
fun with it in
more
the next few weeks as well.
I would put it this way, brother. I was looking at the height of those balconies and thinking, will anyone do a moonsault off that? We'll see.
I think Darby was probably doing the same thing.
Yeah, he's probably just, he could do a coffin drop onto the entire Death Riders in 3 weeks' time. Yeah. He's daft enough.
Absolutely. But let's get into it. Yeah, Hangman Page is the first one out, obviously. He's got a new T-shirt. He looks fantastic with his title around his waist. You can see the AEW World title on television again. And obviously it gets huge, you deserve it chants from the crowd. And he says, no, it's you that deserve it. Fans are loving that. He says there's more to that chant than you understand. Every single week, the fans demanded a better version of professional wrestling and supported this grassroots version as a revolution to change the world and to form all elite wrestling. He wants them to know that everyone doesn't just do it for the AEW World title, but for the fans who deserve to see the championship and to have someone hold it that understands the connection and has more gratitude for them than they'll ever know. All in, Page walked into a war. been going on for 9 months to free this title, and some of those who entered the war didn't come out of it the same. Yeah, thanks, Orange Cassidy. All these get a reaction, obviously. Orange Cassidy, Switchblade Joe Watt, Adam Copeland, Joe and the Ops, Brian Danielson, Darby Allin. He also needs to thank someone who made Page realise when he faced him that the future is bright in AEW, but obviously wasn't able to walk out on his own at All In. Will Ospreay. And we're all going, you're missing one there, Adam, mate. Obviously, the crowd start chanting for Swerve's house, and Page says, look, I don't know if you helped for yourself or for AEW or for one small moment for me, but to Swerve Strickland, thank you. He says, All In was a roller coaster. He's not ashamed to say that not only did he shed buckets of blood, but also some tears. People like John Moxley would call him weak, but he has a wife and 2 kids that love him, and fans who can look and respect Page. And if Moxley wants to look at what kind of man he is, he can do it tonight, as Page is the champion of the effing world. Huge reaction.
This is wonderful. This is exactly what it needed to be. I will say that there was some John Silver erasure.
Yes.
Who knows? Without those nunchucks, the Death Riders, they might still be dominating AEW to this day. Before I praise this promo to the hilt, because it was incredible, him obviously omitting those first few goddamn weeks where it was like the Dark Order, Private Party, and Daniel Garcia. Like, I mean, what we're doing there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, I mean, that was pretty brutal. Really quite brutal. So you don't want to remind people of those days. But it's just funny. Private Party, I'm going to break your hand if you don't step up. Actually, I'm going to break your hand first, then step up. They step up. No one acknowledges anything. No. What are we doing? So when people say, and that was good all along, you just weren't patient. No, it wasn't.
No.
No, this promo was absolutely fantastic. It was as much about the spaces between the words and Hangman's genuinely affected body language that I loved here. Like, he just felt like this meant an awful lot to him. And we talked on the Texas review of that moment when he was opening the briefcase and he just couldn't help himself but helplessly burst into tears. You had to think back then he was thinking, wrongly in my opinion, but I'm sure the thought went through his head of, I might have nearly broken this with this whole CM Punk stuff. Obviously, it's not Hangman Page's fault because, as we all know, at least 3 other people alluded to Colt Cabana in promos before Hangman Page did. And, you know, whatever.
Jungle Boy's fault.
Yes, blame him instead. It might have been CM Punk's fault, actually, or Tony Khan's, but whatever. I just love this idea that Hangman Page just seems completely dialed in and locked in, because I've heard this promo, I saw his reaction after the show, I read some stuff from the Young Bucks as well when they were doing media interviews. When I was trying to tell people ahead of All In 2023, All in AEW, All Is Not Well, and this show is a reflection of the fact that All Is Not Well, and people pissed and moaned about it. Mm-hmm. Can you remember all that crack when, the Elite have resigned in, I think it was 2023. Mm-hmm. And the crack was, like, out front said in the Sports Illustrated puff piece designed to make this cool announcement, yeah, the schedule's better in it. Don't have to work that many days. And yeah, the schedule's just really favorable.
Yeah.
Talk about how you're ready to bring it all back, boys. That made me feel uneasy at the time. The product spoke for itself and it didn't talk loudly. Just watching Hangman be Hangman in this moment was enough for me. It really was. And I thought this promo was excellent. Like a true babyface expressing gratitude, not just doing the whole, I'm the man, I'm the best. There's a lot more humility to his stuff than that. Like, it's ironic that Mox was the one. I don't say I'm the best in the world. That's basic bitch. Shh. Like, Hangman believes in himself, obviously, but he never says, I'm the absolute best. I did it all. I should be the face of the company. Just goes about in such a nicer way than that. And him thanking everyone who took down the Death Riders when he was really saying, thank you for building the early parts of the storyline, which is always going to be a big ask, saying that the company's crap. But if you can just play your part, someone come in and swoop in at the end and like make it so. I thought it was just wonderful. He just seems like you don't want to develop a parasocial relationship with any professional wrestler ever. Hangman Page, maybe some questionable friendships that may or may not still exist or whatever. There's always something, but he always seems like one of the better ones on the scale. And the F word at the end was just, it's always going to get me. That I love that. What I loved about this promo as well, every little detail matters with Hangman Page. He illustrated that beautifully at All in Texas in the build. Quite frankly, this guy's been doing it for 6 friggin' years, right? I liked how he went, I need to thank the. I also need to thank the. I need to thank such and such. I need to thank this person. I loved the and on Ospreay. So if you think of it as like a series of Oxford commas, and then and felt like the last person, didn't it? And I need to thank Will Ospreay, and then because he knew, because he doesn't want to do it, he knew because he's clever and he can work people. They're gonna start shouting for Swerve. Like he knows this. I'd like to, not that they were never not going to chant for Swerve, but it felt like and Will Ospreay. No one's chanting for Swerve. Maybe he would have went, actually, maybe he would have done something. But I love how he had to go. He wasn't quite prepared. Even now, he still wasn't quite prepared to just completely volunteer this himself. He still has to be coaxed into it. He did the right thing by thanking Swerve, but I still love how they're never going to forget that thing of, I can never like, love, or whatever with you. It always has to be sort of, against everything that I still think I have to do this.
Begrudging respect, yeah.
Great. He's the best. He's the best wrestler in the world right now.
He was absolutely having his like Cody Rhodes post Mania 40 moment, wasn't he?
I mean, the push helps. Like, I still think Swerve and Ospreay, if they were put in this role, they would still be able to carry it. But I mean, Hangman's just great right now.
We get a big video recap of all in Texas, with them boasting about it, the highest grossing gate in AEW, all the social media stuff. And then, best of all, we see Matt and Nick Jackson.
I like this throughout.
Arriving, as we sort of talked about yesterday, in an Uber, no longer EVPs, of course. They are, get the bloody cameras away, to get their own bags out of the boot. They're having to go through the sort of back entrance to the venue. More on this in a bit, because it's a bad night to be Matt and Nick Jackson.
Yeah.
And then we got our first match of the night. It was Carl Fletcher versus Mascara Dorada. Big boot. Fletcher was pissed off, obviously, with what happened at All In. Big boot straight away from him. Nails him with some punches in bunches. Dorada comes back with some flips, but misses a dive later, and Fletcher hits a spinning sit-out side slam to take us to a break. When we come back, Fletcher's taken over. But when we come back, Dorada counters a powerbomb into a snap Hurricane Rana for a near fall. He hits a huge shooting star press off the middle rope, does Dorada. Hits off a series of kicks into a code red for 2. Goes up top, but takes too long, and Fletcher boots him in the face. Tries for the avalanche brainbuster, but Dorada hits a corkscrew Hurricane Rana and a 450 splash for a 2. Some big chops by Dorada. Thrust kick, but Fletcher answers with a lawn dart into the corner, a flying kick, and the sheer drop brainbuster for the win. And then a furious Carl Fletcher down the camera yells that Dustin Rhodes stole the biggest moment of his life, and it's his mission to take everything from him. And Tony Schiavone tells us that we'll hear from Dustin on Collision. I also really like the spit that dropped from Fletcher's mouth as he was doing this.
Yeah,
I love the intensity when people do that. There's a really good, terrifying Brock Lesnar one from UFC where he does it. He's kind of got his mouthpiece in. It's coming out, but he's just like, kill you. It's like, I don't care what I look like right now. I'm coming for you.
I had the exact same thought. I miss spotlights. I miss wrestlers sweating. I know it sounds ridiculous. I want to see. That's why I love those. So I talked before about the New Japan world, not the streaming service, the actual world that New Japan presents, with its production, with its lack of like TV trappings and all the rest of it. Part of it is I love it when they are absolutely blown out of their arse, exhausted, sweating backstage, struggling to get their words together because they've just been at war. An element of that with this Fletcher thing. I'm the same as you. I loved it. The match itself was signature AEW stuff, really. I'm not talking about the moves necessarily, in that you have got someone you want to push or present in a featured position over the coming weeks and months. In this case, Kyle Fletcher, who's got a date with Dustin Rhodes for the TNT title. You need him to win a match that, when you look at the graphic, he's never going to lose. But let's make the match good or very good or even great to get there. So not exactly inspiring on a show where people were like, what's next for this great resurgence? But the quality of the work was excellent. The result established was necessary. Not necessary, but logical. And Fletcher versus Dustin Rhodes, like the way that Fletcher just lunges at people, and rightly or wrongly, the stuff with Adam Cole has been two incidents. Got a kind of notoriety attached. Put it this way, his work, Kyle Fletcher, was frightening in how physical it was and explosive it was and how hard-hitting it was. Like that match against Briscoe at Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
Deranged. Deranged, right? There's going to be like an even more glowing aura about how kind of stiff and hard-hitting he is. Maybe a little bit of notoriety is going to attach itself to Kyle Fletcher. Who knows? But put all of his physical gifts and the fact that he'll be a really cool foil for Dustin's comedic work early in his matches. I can't wait for that match.
Do you think Kyle Fletcher's going to fight Hangman Page at some point in this reign?
No, he's going to be the TNT champion. Sadly, I reckon he's blown past this level already.
I agree.
But I mean, the competition for those top spots is fierce. So a long run with the TNT title, it's not going to hurt him. Put it that way. I'm looking forward to Dustin versus Kyle more than this. I feel like there's going to be more emotional heft. But for a TV match, for maintenance booking, like some of the stuff that Dorada was doing in here was, I cannot believe he has managed to rotate his body before dropping on his head.
Yeah.
Like that Hurricane Rana from the corner was absolutely outrageous with the head scissors. I still think, given Dorada's form and Fletcher's form, ironically, they put this on Collision and go 5 extra minutes, and it's more of a, here's your featured banger that's going to go longer. I reckon this could have approached Out of This World level. This wasn't, but I was highly entertained through it.
Yeah. But I will remember the Fletcher down the lens stuff, more of that sort of thing.
He still wants it. Look at his face.
I saw, it's a bit engagement farming, isn't it? But it was like just amazing to sit there because someone tweeted. Now, I'm not sure if it was a year ago or what, or just like remember when this happened. But like the bit where he's there with the blonde hair and he's like, I'm going to cut my hair. And everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? Look at him now.
Yeah, no.
Incredible transformation.
What a year he's had.
A very happy Renee Paquette is backstage with Matt and Nick Jackson. I think this is the most jovial she's ever been for an interview. She
knows when to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, so you lost it all in? You're not EVPs anymore. And whilst she's chatting to them, Marina Shafir walks past and they try to catch her and she's just, I don't see you at all. Walks straight past them. They're not best pleased. And there's also the door with the EVP sign on getting crossed out in Sharpie and someone writing Matt and Nick on it. And it's just everything's going wrong for them, basically. And then Ricochet and his new mates, the Gates of Agony, walk past and saying, it sucks to be you. Matt, in the words of Michael Sidgwick, almost asked, where's my respect? He said, it's too much disrespect. When Don Callis walks in and says, yeah. I mean, come on, you lost one match, you're being treated like jobbers. Since Kenny Omega's dead...
His delivery was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Maybe we can join forces, since you are the greatest tag team of all time, buttering them up. Matt was like, no, we don't want to join your
family. Now that Kenny's dead...
Matt said they don't want to join his family. But maybe they can talk. And Callis is like, yeah. I've got loads of 15-odd family members or something. They can all be your friends. And there's a hug. And there's sort of a reluctant acceptance from both sides. You see the look on everyone's faces of like, suppose this will work.
I like this for various reasons, right? One is when Ricochet took the piss out of the Bucks, it moved away from this idea of, and we see it constantly with not another one, the relentlessly shifting babyface squad variations in these all-star 8-mans and trios where there's so many babyfaces who've made friends along the way in AEW through these matches, and then when they get their ass kicked,
you know, if you get beaten down,
they get beaten down, it's like, what have you done for me lately, pal? I know it's just a little minor detail, but I'm a dork for them. When Matt Jackson, bro, we teamed together 3 weeks ago and you're being like this. I like the idea of, I was my job that night, but I still think you're a little prick. I liked how there's this acknowledgement that not all the baby faces are friends with each other and all the heels are friends with each other. So it gets a bit silly, that. Liked that a great deal. I also liked, this felt like an extension of something that I loved about the MJF thing way back in the day. And it's weird to think of AEW was back in the day, but I digress. When AEW was the babyface promotion because they were going up against Vince McMahon's WWE, right? And I loved how they just, and it's the way to present like your promotion, in my opinion. Otherwise, the heels, there'll be no contrast with the heels. Like when, Brad Maddox and Vicky Guerrero and Vince and Bischoff and were the top heels on the show by being heel authority figures. Like, it just felt like, well, what's the point in wrestling here? What's the point in supporting a character if this contrived bollocks is just going to get obstacle after obstacle in front of the people you just kind of want to see succeed? And the heels are better at this than authority figure promos and all the rest of it. So I liked how AEW positioned itself with the warmth of Tony Schiavone. And, he's a bit miserable these days, a bit grumpy, but Jim Ross knows right from wrong. Look at how he built his legacy. Like, the matches were always fair and all the rest of it. And I just liked how, it's a lovely place to work this. We're going to change the world and just do it the nice way and have, there'll be some violence along the way, but the winners, when they win, it'll matter. The losers, when they lose, it'll matter for them, sadly, but someone's got to win, and we're just going to create this fair world, and we're not going to rip off the fans. We're going to screw the booking up with Cody Rhodes not challenging for the title, but we're not going to insult your intelligence. We're going to stick to that, whether we should or not. God, MJF's ruining it. He's such a little prick. And then even Schiavone would be like, God, I hate that guy. You would say it through gritted teeth. This is now expanded, and it's not an MJF exclusive thing. Like they pretend to hate Don Callis a lot. And now
someone on Twitter today was talking about it. He went, "Talk, bitch."
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
And now I just like the idea of there's just some nice people trying to do their jobs and put on a show for the fans. There's just some dickhead heels who get in the way. I did say in the lead up to All in Texas when the stip was announced that EVP status is going to be removed, they needed to really remind people of how awful they were as characters and how awful the storyline was realistically most of the time. There were still flashes of fun stuff, but they haven't bullied production staff and fined them, as far as I can recall, since the stable formed in March, April 2024. So when all the production staffers were gleeful that they wouldn't have to get fined for looking at them the wrong way, you haven't really done that in a year.
Yeah.
But it was still a cute bit.
We go backstage at All in Texas. This is with the Hurt Syndicate featuring MJF, of course. MVP says, we'd love to celebrate, but what are we celebrating? We knew we were going to defend the titles, so we're just begging for someone to try and step up and take these titles away from us. MJF says he's so happy that Hangman Page has won the title. He says he's got everything to prove here. And then, obviously, this is from backstage at All in Texas, but this is in Chicago. Hangman, you're not the best. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world. And I will beat you clean in that middle of the ring. I am the physical embodiment of your depression. I don't need this contract. This is just a break glass in case of emergency thing. I can't wait to push you back over into that pit of despair. And you'll realize that nice guys finish last. And MVP reminds everyone that the Hurt Syndicate are not nice at all.
Love this. And I like this angle that MJF appears to be taking, where he's just going to brutalize Hangman Page for having mental health issues. It's something that has been a big prominent part of Hangman Page's character arc. MJF's the worst person in the world, so he's going to prey upon that. I'm looking forward to
he already took it personally at the press conference, didn't he?
Yeah.
He tweeted about Hangman Page crying and said, "Oh, like when he does it, everyone loves him for it.
Yeah.
When I do it."
So I like this slant, and I think there's a lot of material that they can mine from it. And it's a very touchy subject. I mean, I suffer from anxiety and depression on occasion. I think a lot of us do. People are more open about it. All of which is to say it's quite relatable, and you can get some very visceral reactions from
Arsenal
people
still use it as a
it.
weakness as well, don't they? There's always arseholes who are like, it's a bit weak to be saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's beneficial in the long run,
Yeah.
but you know, build those walls if you want, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I liked is how the consequences of major competition and matches were just explored very well throughout here. You got the celebratory side of it with Hangman Page and Tony Storm. I thought Jon Moxley's facial expressions were the highlight of the main event in terms of his defeat and reaction to it. And I like how you've got the mercenaries who are just there to make money, who were almost sort of like, yeah, we won, but I mean, come on, who expected anything else? Like, it was all in character. Like, Hangman Page celebrating his victory, like on the verge of tears, completely moved by the crowd reaction, pouring his heart out, contrasted with the Hurt Syndicate's 2 wins at All in Texas, being like, yeah, we are here to do business. We are in the business of winning. It's not really personal or emotionally affecting. In fact, it's getting a bit predictable. I just liked how...
Give me some competition, yeah.
It's a good wins and losses matter Dynamite, if not a great Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah. We got the 8-man following this. It was Bandito, Brody King, and Jet Speed taking on Josh Alexander, Hechicero, and Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks, who no longer have their EVP entrance. It gets cut off. There's no pyro. The footage is them losing at All In, and there's sort of described as a Windows Paint graphic with Comic Sans as the font of their entrance.
Indeed.
And Justin Roberts was loving doing their entrance as well here.
Can I just have a quick note on this before we get into the match, because I will forget. Here's the thing. Got 2 thoughts on this. Thought 1, another cool extension of, again, they probably should have hammered this more over the spring and summer, because the majority of this, all the staffers who they'd been fining on this power trip, was the thing they really mostly did last year. So this is like, I guess you could say, as a long-term payoff, but they probably should have hammered it a little bit more, But it's fine. I remember, I'm not a goldfish. Thought number 2, and I'm shocked you haven't brought this up, Wilborn. All Elite Wrestling copying the homework of WhatCulture Pro Wrestling.
Yes, I did think of it when it popped up.
So you saw it if you watch Dynamite. So what the basic joke is, it's a little bit different in how it's framed. So the basic joke here is that the production staff, the broadcasters, security, they've all thought, get in. This Young Bucks reign of terror that happened in the spring of 2024 is over. Let's just be delighted with it. Let's take the piss and rib them, okay? A nice, cute show long gag that I did find was amusing, right? In WhatCulture Pro Wrestling, Joe Hendry was in a tag team with a wrestler called Joseph Connors that was always destined to split up and have a fouad and all the rest of it. But the dynamic was Joe Hendry was like the hot shot superstar, this massive new charismatic talent on the scene. And Joseph Connors was a bit of a meat and potatoes good technician. And Joe Hendry was like proper arrogant, like, I'm the star of the team, guys. And, you know, Joseph Connors here, he's here as well.
Yeah.
So they would do, his theme at the time was a riff on the old Raw theme, or one of the old Raw themes of, move to the music, play Joe Hendry's music, move into the music, yeah. And Joseph Connors would appear on the screen with his name in Comic Sans MS.
Yeah, it was. I remember a Paint picture of him that slightly moved about or whatever. Joe Hendry's music, play Joe Hendry's music, moving to the music, yeah. And Joseph Connors. I need to watch that again. It's brilliant. Yeah, pop me. Early on in the match.
I'm not saying the copy, they probably just had the same idea independently of one another.
WCPW alums. So.
They came in for one show.
Yeah.
The Young Bucks. and didn't have the best experience with us.
You-
Nothing to do with me. I was sat there writing. It's this guy who was part of it.
It wasn't my fault. It was, I think, travel issues.
Yeah.
That was the, let's just call it that and move on. But they were sensational, obviously, working in for us. Early on in the match, Brody King just no-sells Josh Alexander's offense, and they sort of try and have a chop off. And then King hits him in the back with
Oh
a...
my god.
Love that.
If you want to know what Brody King's chops are like, if this didn't tell it to you, check out Simon Miller being chopped by him at some WrestleFest event.
Go to YouTube, WhatCulture Wrestling, Simon Miller, Brody King, you'll find it.
It's meant to be a Danhausen interview, but it goes off the rails very quickly. Bandito comes in, hits a springboard Hurricane Rana, jet speed show off with their high-flying stuff. But after, well, they do avoid a sneak attack from the Bucks and hit a double dive to the floor. There's a crossbody by Knight as well. But Josh Alexander gets a cheap shot in, which allows Nick Jackson to hit a punt kick on Knight and a assisted pop-up Hurricane Runner on Bandito. There's a double super kick on Knight, another off the shoulders of Alexander, and Bailey eats a double stomp bounce back power bomb. And Nick Jackson hits a big dive to take us to a break. When we come back, Alexander hits a spinning torture rack slam. The Bucks then want to get in and set up for the EVP trigger and then realize,
Oh my god.
what are we doing? What do we call it? And that hesitation allows Knight to capitalize. Double drop kick. It brings in Mike Bailey, who hits those rapid fire kicks of his. He missed a shooting star, but connected on a moonsault to the outside and then escaped more bang for your buck and hit a backflip double knees onto both of the Bucks.
Oh my god.
King helped Bandito hit a handspring moonsault onto the pile of people outside. Then it all breaks down. Alexander eats a poison rana from Bailey. There's a super kick party from the Bucks. 15% allows Bandito to hit Nick with a pop-up cutter in the X-knee. Tries for the 21-plex. That gets blocked by Josh Alexander. The Bucks hit an assisted indie taker. Bandito gets popped up into a double super kick. And Hechicero sinks in a sleeper to get the win.
If that spot where Hechicero does like the stump puller into the super kick thing, it come off completely perfect. The kind of super kicked, was it Bailey in the gut? There was one of those like better in your head than on the screen. Still liked it. Still a great idea. That would have been absolutely amazing. I've got some thoughts on this match that aren't necessarily, it's a Young Bucks match, so instantly it's going to be at the minimum very good. And it's a party match, so it's probably going to verge on great. I think it was more very good than great, this. I think I've enjoyed their party matches a bit more in recent months than this one. I don't know what it was, but this just didn't hit that extra gear of I am losing my mind. I'm being bombarded with creativity, shifts in momentum. I can't believe you've even come up with this idea, let alone had the audacity to execute it perfectly. That feeling of, Jesus Christ, I'm getting blown away by the Young Bucks. I didn't quite get it in this one, even though it was very well worked and got a good, very good crowd reaction and all the rest of it. Which sounds like negative. Like, it's just, when you're talking about the scale of Young Bucks matches, this is a bit, it's like the lower end is very good. The top end is one of the best things you'll ever see as a pro wrestling fan. It's just happened to be on the lower end. Very good. I mean, I don't know what else I can say. I can't pretend I was doing cartwheels over it. I wasn't really losing my mind at home over this one, even though structurally it was done very well. You look at that field, and I'm looking at who do I want to see interact most in it. And because of that unbelievable Young Bucks jet speed match earlier this year, I'm thinking, get Bailey in there with the Young Bucks and you'll get magic. And because it's the Young Bucks, for God's sake, they're obviously clever enough to realize, well, that's going to be the peak of the quality of action. So we'll touch on that interaction at the end of the match. Like, they've got the order, if you like, correct.
Serve the purpose. Hechicero chokes out Bandito.
Yeah, but it's one of those where on your Dynamite after your WrestleMania, do you want to dedicate time to building an ROH
Good point.
world title match? I don't know, man. I don't know. Not what I would have done. And I understand that they were trying to accomplish a few things in the scope of one match. But if it was just a number one contenders match for the ROH World title, we're probably asking more pressing questions, but it wasn't. So I'll shut up. It was fine. I've got a negative thought about my favorite part of the match.
Okay.
That's a very Sidgwick thing. That I'm very sorry.
Is it the EVP trigger?
Yes. Here's the thing. I thought the idea was absolutely wonderful, right? Absolutely wonderful, funny joke, and I like how it just then was a good transition into the next sort of part of the match, and a great joke in and of itself. Did you notice no one laughed? Did you notice that no one did the Nelson Muntz almost obnoxious, hey, way, or ha ha? I think the fans kind of realized, that's good, but I don't know how to react really. I'll just boo them instead. And again, I reckon if they'd hammered home this Young Bucks reign of terror that didn't really happen this year, it happened last year and it was funny in parts, but didn't actually go that well. If this EVP run, match quality, unbelievable as always, some really funny moments peppered in, which were more's the pity because just this a full-blown NWO didn't work in the Death Riders. The half-arsed one until the very end. The half-arsed version was never going to work. Ultimately, this EVP run wasn't a success, right? If it was, and they'd laid it on thick, and it was week after week after week. Oh, God, the Young Bucks are awful. Look at all the heat they're getting. They're doing this, they're doing that. Look at how they're treating that wrestler, how they're treating that staffer, that employee. If they'd hammered it home and laid it on thick, and they go, not EVPs anymore, I reckon everyone would have pissed themselves laughing. But they didn't, so they didn't.
Yeah, it's a good point. I like the touch, like you say, of them. It's those things that something happens in your life, not a really sad thing, I mean, but like something, and then you forget about it for a bit, and then something else just reminds you of it. I love the fact in that moment, like, we're not EVPs anymore. Yeah, you're right. I think that they needed to hammer it home more. Following this, it's time for Cope. He comes out, thanks the fans, obviously gets a great reaction when the fans singing his song and what have you. Says that's the reason why he keeps doing all this. He says lots of questions after All In. Most notably, did he come back to save Christian Cage? Says the answer's no, because Cage is an asshole. From the second he arrived in AEW, Cage tried to make his life miserable. He ran down everything Cage did to him, including obviously costing him the AEW title match with Moxley by cashing in his contract and losing. Cope says he doesn't blame Kip Sabian or Nick Wayne or Nick Wayne's mom's got it going on for what they did at All In. He told Cage this would happen. And he hopes now Cage is pulling his giant cranium out of his ass. He didn't come back to help Cage. He came back to get revenge on FTR. He says 5 years ago he got his dream back. The first people he spoke to were FTR. He knew that they could whip him back into shape. He was even in a different company talking about winning trios titles as rated FTR. But when we finally got together, after just a few weeks, they started complaining that they were glorified edgeheads and were in his shadow and what have you. He said the thing about megalomaniacs is they blame everyone else but don't look in the mirror. For 4 months, they put him on the shelf, which might not seem like a long time, but every time he steps in this ring, it could be his last, so that's 4 months. He'll never get back. He didn't return for titles. He says he came back to end FTR. He's interrupted by FTR's music, but it's just Stokely Hathaway, who is flanked by security. And he says that FTR read Cope like a book and is met with shut the F up chants. But he's got and he also buries Cope spending someone's salary on getting a reaction from the crowd and milking it too much, basically, which is quite funny.
Yep.
He's got
funny because it's true.
He talks about Spike and says it's a liability, that weapon. So much so that after the pay-per-view, AEW, Tony Khan, and Warner Media received 3 anonymous emails about Cope's behavior. And moving forward, if Cope interferes in FTR's matches, he will be fired. FTR aren't scared of Cope, but they're just focused on the AEW tag titles, says Stokely Hathaway. So he tells Cope to find a hobby and leave FTR alone. And Cope says, you sound like an angry Oompa Loompa. Guess an Oompa Loompa.
You're a crickets button. You got a patter button.
That's mainly me, but yeah. But yeah, we should get a crickets button for that, stuff like that. I was like, I often say, bits on shows that happen. I'm like, immediately think of Michael Sidgwick. I thought of it's like an amazing spot or whatever. I'm like, I can't wait to hear what Sidgwick makes of that. The moment he said, umple looking asses, I was like, that's it, just going to go for that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll go for it when you finish.
Yeah, we're nearly there. He said, you said I couldn't touch FTR. Didn't say anything about you. And the security there, but Cope takes him out, and then Stokely sort of accepts his fate, turns around, gets speared, and Cope screams he will get his revenge on FTR, basically.
I just don't rate Cope as a pro wrestler. Even when he did material here before, it was wretched. It was actually quite good. Maybe even the way to do it really properly. God, I've got a lot of thoughts on this. Cope just does something. He sends me to that place, ironically enough, right? So I'm a total hypocrite. We were just saying, God, wasn't it so great when that the spit was coming out of Cal Fletcher's mouth? Because he was so angry and intense. It's a point where Cope, where that vein was going right up to the ringside, the camera operator in the ring. Right up to it like that. And sort of you can see little specks of saliva. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Shut up, man. Shut up. I don't know whether this speaks to my the attention I paid, my analytical ability, the fact that the storyline, while I remember it being good for what it was, but not high-end AEW fare. But when Cope was saying, you think I was there for Christian Cage? No. If you remember, previously on wrestling, he did this. I was like, oh yeah, of course he did. Oh, he's not just gonna, forgive and forget because he's best friends, or they used to be best friends, and he wants to be his best friend again, or he thinks he can redeem him. Oh, right, okay, of course he did all of this. I think I just memory hold it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably should have remembered that when we were previewing it yesterday. It won't be that easy for Adam Copeland, about whom I really care, and I remember all his stuff. So it was a good idea for Cope to say, I didn't do that for Christian Cage. I did it to get to FTR, and I'm not just going to forgive and forget Cage. He's an arsehole because he did this, and this. Obviously he will, and obviously there'll be a match, and obviously this Go Find Yourself is prove to me through various chapters of the story why we should team together, blah, 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 blah. They're going to get there, but this is clever establishing work from Cope and the idea of, right, I'd forgotten about all of that because I couldn't have cared less, even if it was quite good for what it was. Now my mind was going to, during the first part of this promo, it's even more difficult for them two to come together. One, Christian Cage is an irredeemable prick, and two, Cope doesn't even like him. So they are telling you, we're going to bring these two characters together to fight FTR, which is even harder because now Cope legally can't get his hands on them. I don't know how this works for this specific pairing, but not for everyone. It doesn't matter. So Cope can't get his hand on FTR without getting fired. Christian Cage is going to have to do something unbelievable to come back and convince people to cheer for him because he's going to play the face in this feud. Mm-hmm. And Cope doesn't even want to have anything to do with him. So there's three major obstacles they've told you, right? This match that's happening can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
How does it happen? That's good episodic storytelling.
You've got 2 months to get there, basically. Yeah,
it's good episodic TV storytelling, and it actually stems from, if you get Cope's character and what he was doing with Moxley, this was pretty good all along between FTR and Cope. Hamlet was a huge fan of it, genuinely. So I don't know how they get there. I'm kind of half intrigued into what they do. I just can't deal with Cope.
Is it Christian Cage costing them either a title match or the ability to get a title match, maybe?
Yeah. And it's
say anything about him getting involved.
Exactly. So that's the one route in.
Perfectly legal.
Perfectly legal, Cope. But how do they get Cope and Christian on the same terms? I'm half interested, not because I want to see them together, but how they navigate that plot.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah,
but you
it's
still screwed me. Yeah,
yeah. So I don't know how they're going to get there. More than I need to see how they get there, and I want them to get there. It's how are they going to get there? I guess I'm intrigued. The Oompa Loompa line, like Cope is like brutally unfunny. He used to have patter.
Yeah.
The whole.
I think he was in the Fed too long. I think a lot of people lose it after a while because they're like, is this comedy now?
In Vince Fed.
Yeah.
Because you like Dominic Mysterio is funny.
Yeah.
And now, but like usually, like Ricochet got it after about.
Yeah, good point.
2 months. We said the same thing about Christian Cage. Of like, oh, it's good. This babyface stuff, meat and potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's lovely to see Christian, and I guess this sort of like veteran craft is possibly needed at this point of AEW's career. And then he just got really funny. They go, oh God, he can be funny here again. Cope he's been there for about a year, 2 years. Late 2023, he debuted. Yeah, he has his like little holidays that he has, but he's been there a while. I'd noticed. Save us, Christian Cage. Oompa Loompa is terrible. And it's just the general way that Cope carries himself. Like, I'm tough, I'm grizzled. You know what he reminds me of? Jack Reacher. Yeah. Someone who thinks he's Jack Reacher. I don't know if I've said that one before. Oh, yeah, Oompa Loompa. God, you suck, bro.
Yeah.
You kind of suck now. And you kind of like...
Never gets any on him, does he?
Nah.
That's the thing.
As well plotted as this whole thing between FTR and Cope has been.
Stoke did kind of get him with that. Like,
he did.
His mate was getting
But
his
yeah,
head
you're an
caved
Oompa
in.
Loompa, so...
Yeah. We need to rewatch the Ricky start.
Yeah. Like, I know it's been well plotted, this FTR Cope thing. Like, given what a great heel Christian Cage was, given that the fans have never really taken to Cope. I'll get to the entrance thing momentarily and briefly. They've never really taken Cope as like they took to Sting or they took to Mox.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not on that level. Maybe the play all along was Cope's going to be better as a heel in AEW. You'd hope Christian, like proper heel C&C, but then hopefully that lights a flame under Cope to be funny and entertaining again. And then they turn babyface. That's maybe how it should have gone all along. But whatever, they've gone in this direction. On the entrance theme, very quickly before we wrap up, and yes, no one can get anything on him. It has to be the coolest, funniest, hardest. God, it's like watching Triple H on this TV show. It's like watching main event babyface Triple H. It really is. Agenda. Please stop singing Alter Bridge live. Because what you're doing is having fun at the show, and I can't sanction that. Stop having fun, yeah? Stop working to the bone for months on end and rewarding yourself with a ticket to Dynamite and doing what you want because you're entitled to do that and having fun singing the songs and basking in what is legitimately a superstar entrance. But please don't do that no more. Because I can't sanction Cope's face when he soaks it in. And it creates a false impression of how over and how valuable he is. So stop doing that, please. And spoiler alert, it's a little test. I think Okada and Cope should swap theme tunes. I think that's one, because Okada needs rid of it as soon as possible. And two, we need to really measure how valuable Cope is without Alter Bridge. So 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah. How over is Adam Copeland? What if we Def Rebel his theme like we just done to Okada? My word. I genuinely was surprised that it didn't go coin drop. You're a bitch. We'll get to it. We'll breeze past it, to be honest. It was a squash that was far more exciting with what happened afterwards. We get
I do need to check something about what happened afterwards, so I'm not just going on my phone for the fun of it.
There's a recap of Mark Briscoe's history with the Death Riders. But then we cut back to him. He cuts a great promo. He always does. It's Mark Briscoe. He's backstage, still got his sights set on MJF. He says, if it walks and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. If it walks, talks, and acts like a bitch, it's a bitch. And MJF, you a bitch, he says. He dodged him the entire casino gauntlet, and all the 2 things that Mark wanted to do was whoop his ass and get that title shot. But thanks to MJF, he accomplished neither. He thought he'd be done with MJF, but he's just getting started. He made his debut a few years ago under unfortunate circumstances. Brings up MJF mentioned his brother Jay a few weeks ago. Some call it karma. You reap what you sow. Briscoe, he says, will make MJF pay for his sins.
I really like this. Let's keep it going. There's a lot of material to mine in the wonderful contrast and character between MJF and Briscoe. Serious Mark Briscoe's overdue. We've been campaigning for a push. This continues to be excellent.
And then one women's match on AEW Dynamite. I was watching this, right? And I've never gone... I don't like going on X in the morning at the best of times because it kind of ruins my day. I was sort of... I think it was pre-Pando. I decided I'm not going to look at X until like I've got up, had breakfast, because if half the time I lay in bed, what's going on? Morning, love. Oh, that's pissed me off.
Yeah.
I've not even had breakfast yet. I was like, oh my God, I think Michael Sidgwick's nailed this with Ladies Night. But we'll get to that in due course because I was doubly happy. That I thought, oh my God, I think he's got it. And then when the graphic showed up earlier on in the night, obviously, and it was like, Queen Aminata, Thekla, who could have called that?
Yeah.
You two yesterday, along with probably, if I'd have said, right, name two more, you would have probably said Willow and Chris Statlander. I mean, all great performers, obviously, but pretty by the numbers, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But there's 100 grand on the line here. And Thekla is really starting to hit a stride in AEW, isn't she? She made a fast start, ran over everyone. Statlander caught a corner charge, though, and it got a delayed vertical suplex early on. Aminata gets a sliding boot in the ropes, and she and Nightingale basically take turns squashing Statlander with sentons and double stomps and what have you. Nightingale hits Thekla with a torture rack backbreaker. Aminata fights with her to the apron, hits a headbutt, climbs the ropes, but Thekla shoves her off and hits a top rope crossbody onto Nightingale, and Statlander takes to a break. When we come back, Chris Statlander avoids a head scissors, put Thekla in the corner, and then Aminata rises up after Aminata gets involved. Thekla rises up into a spider suplex, sends Statlander crashing into Nightingale, does that cool spider walk. The speed she spins over is very impressive.
Yeah, I don't know how she doesn't break her bloody knees.
Into a spear. Aminata hits a headbutt on Thekla, spinning fisherman suplex on Statlander. Nightingale cleans house, but Statlander gets discus lariats until Aminata hits a headbutt. Everyone's down, and then they sort of pair off. Statlander and Nightingale obviously fight. Statlander hits a blue thunder bomb. Aminata gets an air raid crash on Thekla. Nightingale hits a doctor bomb on Thekla too, but Statlander pulls out the referee. Willow and Chris brawl up the ramp, and I thought, oh my God, she's going to win. Queen Aminata's going to win. She hit a neck breaker, a double stomp, but then here appears Julia Hart and Sky Blue. Sky Blue runs distraction. Julia Hart misses Aminata, and Thekla hits a stomp to get the 1, 2, 3, thanks to her toxic trio. I've just made that up for my notes. But
yeah. I worry about the cringe factor of a Thekla, Sky Blue, Julia Hart stable, but and AEW doesn't have the best track record of women's stables generally.
No.
Outcasts. Ugh. Remember that? Dire. Absolutely dire. But, it's a vehicle for a wrestler who's really impressed and deserves a major spot on the card in Thekla. So I guess for no other reason than it's a guide to, we're doing something with her. I can permit it, but the vignettes and the presentation could be bad, not good.
Hey, $100,000 can buy you a lot of flies.
Yes, indeed. Oh, God. The match was really good.
It was, yeah.
Really good, really stiff, really well worked. They kept me guessing throughout on who was going to win. I like the idea of the match, even if it was a little bit cheeky. Oh, there's two feuds in one match. Just a one women's match on Dynamite, guys. There were various moments where, all I want to do when I watch wrestling is I want to be hypnotized. I've got high standards. I want to be exhilarated beyond belief. I want to feel like someone's going to die. I want to, or to a lesser extent, I just want to wince. I want to feel like a frenzied bloodlust. I want to feel that people are in pain. I want to feel like that someone's got such a great strategy that they cannot possibly lose. I want to just get behind someone and think, oh, God, you're getting your ass kicked, but I want to see you win. I want to feel things. And I'll tell you what, when Aminata and Thekla are in there, I'm wincing. Wincing. Very pretty dramatic as well because anyone could have won. It's 100 grand of fake money. Who cares? But they've also as well put my Hamflet head on.
It's over there.
Hello, I'm Michael Hamflet now. They built the idea of them forming a faction or a partnership between Thekla and Julia Hart with the stereo things during the Casino Gauntlet. So a good direction. That's well thought through. Thanks, Hamflet.
Thanks, Hamflet. Yeah, I was really impressed with Thekla in here and cautiously optimistic about this trio, like you say, because
it's a push.
It
could be packaged in a very cringeworthy way, but it's a push.
But as you said, Sige, that was the only women's match on Dynamite. So before we get to the name of the game, we have to get to the aim of the game.
Yeah, the aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note for the first women's wrestler to come out and compete for the only women's match on Dynamite. The idea being that, and this week was a good time to say it because it was true, it tends to, more often than not anyway, fall in that 1 hour 20, 1 hour 25 minute range. Basically, the last match before the men's main event. With the idea being that I've thought for a long time that they kind of had to do women's wrestling as opposed to presenting it as this equally important part of the show, with the idea being, bloody hell, the Wokes will kick off if we don't. And look, there's Toni Storm, there's Mercedes Moné, there's stars, there's great wrestlers, but still, the fact that there is only one women's match on Dynamite about 99% of the time indicates to me that they still have this opinion, and it's wrong, that the likes of you, me, viewers, listeners, think, bloody hell, women, it's 2025, we've got to do it. But load it with blokes in the first hour and advertise a main event with blokes in it, they'll think, bloody hell, women, yeah, but come on, we've already sunk a lot of time into this, so might as well just persevere with these broads, and then we'll get more men after that. Don't like it. Increasingly, they obviously care about Toni Storm a great deal and Mercedes Moné, but it's still there. And while it's still there, we still play da game, the name of which will be revealed after you say, Sige, jingle-eyes this. Mouthful. Sure can. Don't worry, guys. When the women come out to play, don't worry, guys. Don't worry. When the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. That's the aim of the game. The name of the game, of course, is, well, this is ladies' night, and I'm thinking, oh, what a night.
Thanks, as always, to the Panda Blair himself, Adam Blair, at Adam Wilton 4, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11. The guys who always take care of the
data.
Thank you for this sort of thing. Can you run us through our guesses in descending order?
Sure can.
I never know.
Michael Hamflet, 0 hours, 38 minutes, and 0 seconds. Not even close. Me, 1 hour, 15 minutes, 59 seconds. Adam Wilborn.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You were so close.
Yeah, a minute off?
Yeah, 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 22 seconds. But yeah, Sige gets the point, which takes him level with Hamflet and just 1 behind me. So 5 for you two and 6 for
It is
me.
close. This is close.
This is close. But yes, it was. And it wasn't the penultimate match, actually, was it, for once? I think on mine there was another match that went about 10 seconds. But before we get to that, it's time for Timeless Toni Storm's victory speech. We've already mentioned how visually great this looked, where it was. I'd have that be her platform for the next coming weeks, basically. She's on the balcony. She obviously gets a standing ovation. Says, enough of this gay banter, this whore you all adore, this slut you can't rebut, the bitch you want to itch, the skank you want to spank, this trollop you can't wallop, this tramp is still the champ. She thanks Mercedes.
Money.
For going all in with her. In case she forgot, though, Storm said if she made one false move, she'd eat Monet alive. And, darling, you were delicious. She wants to come back for seconds. Then from her lips to hers, the buffet is always open. She has to announce, despite how ecstatic Taz was to hear this, that Luther was injured and requires reattachment surgery.
Was that a joke about his knob falling
I
off?
assume so. But Storm's tits are pointing to the future.
I love that.
It's just... Was there a tits channel?
Yeah.
Good.
You can say anything in front of an AEW crowd and they will repeat it back to you.
As proven by the Oompa Loompa line.
Yeah.
But yes.
Chernobyl.
Jesus.
They were just Chernobyl. I mean, it's ridiculous. Please, don't give them everything.
Yeah.
Don't give them rubbish patter. Oompa Loompa, no. Tits, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rule. Everyone knows that.
Anyway, Athena and Billy Starks interrupt on the big screen because, Storm was saying how her title is the big one in this company, Building and Planets. And she's like, I think you'll find my title, my Ring of Honor Women's Championship, the Forever Championship that I'm holding is the big one. She says Storm will be the wide-hipped heifer that no one will care about. She mentions not only is Luther injured, but so is Mina Shirakawa, who she injured at All In. And therefore, no one is watching Storm's back. So maybe she can take her title tonight with the contract she's got, or London.
What's the deal?
Wait,
can they just make... I don't want to sound like... Certain podcasters that I actually really like who pretend to be dumber than they are on behalf of a fake, imagined casual fan. I'm just going to put it like that. But can we really decide what we're doing? Can you cash in at any time? Because just say on the AEW TV, it's like Money in the Bank, guys. Or it isn't like Money in the Bank. It sounds like it's like Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it feels like... It feels like you can... Remember when RVD called his shot with his Money in the Bank thing? It feels more like that you can just walk out to ringside and be like, right now.
Athena said I could do it now if I
But then
wanted.
exactly. She said, maybe I'll do it now, London, Canada, and then she seemingly wrote in when she's going to do it on the contract.
Yeah.
Which made me think more, it's a nominated time
But you
and
don't
place.
know either.
No,
I
no
don't
idea.
know. And MJF earlier said, this is a backup plan in case I can't get it done in a proper match. That seemed to be what he was talking around. Just clarify it.
Yeah, so in theory, he could have a title match, lose, kill him with a chair straight afterwards, and then be like, rematch right now. So I don't know.
I don't know, man.
Either way, Athena tells Storm, stop looking for her happy ending. Her demise is here. And Storm said, Athena, you'll be ready. I will be sweaty if you're willing. I will be thrilling. If you're able, I will bend you over the table because I am timeless. And Storm's going to face Billy Starks next week on Dynamite. So we've got at least one women's match confirmed for next week's Dynamite.
I thought for sure she was going to say, if you are set, I will be wet. That just went through my head when she was doing it, but didn't. Love this. As I said earlier on in the pod, I just love the idea that they gave that really extravagant, glaring, huge, what they're called. You're a theatre man.
What, the balcony sort of...
Yeah.
There is a name for this as well.
You did theatre and performance at university.
Yeah.
Whatever they're called. I'm glad they give that big, prominent one as if it belonged to Tony Storm. Great visual production touch. Tony's promo was funny and excellent as ever. The reaction to Tony, again, the visual was so great here when they're all just looking up like royalty has just appeared in front of them. Like she's lauding it above everyone, and they were happy to be sort of worshipping her. Brilliant.
I feel like she should float down from the balcony for a match next week.
Like, absolutely wonderful stuff. There was a weird moment where I think Tony expected the video interruption to happen earlier than it did. She seemed to be stalling for time. That doesn't matter. What's funny about this, and look, I think Athena in the ring is great. I think the character she plays on ROH a little bit mid-card heel, because Tony Storm plays, I know she's timeless, but she plays someone who, A, lives in a bit of a fantasy world, B, basically could have starred in the 50s. She plays this very exaggerated character, and yet I'm more convinced by her than I was by Athena. I don't know what it is. She's just not an amazing promo, Athena. And she kind of, I think maybe acknowledges that herself, so she doesn't play it too seriously as the forever champion. She'll send herself up. She'll deliberately play someone who's a bit goofy and prone to a meltdown, and she'll show ass. For someone who's reigned, even if you take the title seriously with it for as long as she has, she doesn't feel like a serious main event proposition. Put it this way, as good as Athena is, under the current character that she's working, I can't imagine her building something that Mercedes and Tony did this year.
Yeah.
For next year's All In, as an example. I think she needs to tweak it a bit.
I'm really annoyed with myself because I think what you were alluding to is actually really something that Tony can definitely use. A royal box.
Yes.
I'm in your box.
I'm in your box. Familiar surroundings, I'm sure.
She should sock someone in their box.
Diana Perazzo will sock you in that box of yours.
Yeah, it was a weird sort of dichotomy, wasn't it? Between I'm going to thrash your minge or whatever. And then I'd be like, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to end your reign or whatever.
There's two characters in this segment. One of them you should have not really been able to take seriously, and it wasn't that one.
Yeah. We go backstage where there is Kip Sabian, Nick Wayne, and Nick Wayne's mom, who's got it going on, but I don't know, she just something about that promo just threw me for a loop. Kip Sabian says he was the one who chose Christian as his father figure, and then he realized what their real purpose was with his brother Nick, not under a patriarch but a matriarch. And this is it. Nick Wayne's mom, who still had it going on, said Christian Cage had trouble getting up on Saturday, which is nothing new for him. So is he normally likes a lie-in, or is he just...
You thought it was funny because you see him walking around all the time.
Yeah.
No. Say the line again. I'll talk you through it.
You had trouble getting up on Saturday, which is nothing new for you. So has he got it's just it's a bit of stiffness, he's like...
Well, quite the opposite.
Oh.
So he can't get an erection.
Oh, no.
Without, which obviously, as everyone knows, leads to full penetrative sex in all three positions, without basically having some medication to help.
That makes a lot more sense. Which is surprising as well. But Nick Wayne's mom, who's got it going on, says these are her boys. Nick is her son, her prodigy. And Nick Wayne says the answer was simple. Christian, you were past your expiration date. You became a liability for the patriarchy. And that's when we realised we know what we had to do. Cage had gone his own path to become the world champion. He was always getting in my face, says Nick, about the titles he'd won. But you forgot I'm 21 years old, the youngest champion in this company's history. Question is now just how many titles I'm going to win over my career, how much even better I'm going to get. Christian Cage, you created this monster. Now you and AEW will have to live with me as the new face of TNT, the new face of AEW, now and forever.
Yeah, it's fine. I like this delivery. Very young wrestler getting to grips with how to deliver material rather than a great promo in and of itself. And I do like Nick Wayne. Cocky. He's got something. And I'm trying not to be hyperbole because, as he himself pointed out, he is 21 years old. The idea that it's just...
He just does.
After all the stuff with Christian Cage and the patriarchy and Nick Wayne, which has been going on for 2023, the fact that you're looking past him and waiting for Christian to do something with Cope is very... Cope who never loses, isn't it?
I tell a lie. According to his Wikipedia.
He's 20?
He's 20.
Yeah, he's 20. I thought you got it wrong.
He only just turned 20.
Yeah.
As well. So he never saw Wayne Rooney break out at Euro 2004. Wasn't even born. Weird, isn't it? Your first tournament.
That I loved.
That you, vividly remember. 96?
Yeah, that's the more vivid memories. England weren't in the World Cup 1994. No. I was already Raj on Newcastle by 1992, 1993. That was my first season. So theoretically, I should love the World Cup, but England weren't in it. Mm-hmm. I think it was USA as well. So I'm not watching many of the matches because of the times.
Was 94 the Graham Taylor one? The Holland?
I think that possibly, I mean, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah. 96 was my first one.
96 was the first one I remember loving.
I'm heartbroken. Not for England necessarily, because I was like, there's loads more tournaments. We'll definitely have won it by the time I'm, 30-something. It was, my dad was like, we'll go to Hillsborough. We'll go and watch a game at Hillsborough, because it's only down the road sort of thing. Brilliant. Who are we going to go and see? I was going to watch, I think it was a group game. Just going to go watch Denmark versus Croatia. Fantastic. I'll be turning 8 that summer, basically. As everyone was in my school, huge Man United fan. Oh my God, I get to see Peter Schmeichel in person. I get absolutely mugged by Davor Suker. I think he got a hat-trick against him. Dad, why is he crap? Huh? He's going to be good.
Yeah, you know what you should have said? He said, well, you shouldn't be such a glory supporting.
Yeah, well, I learned it in the end. Well,
failure.
technically I'm a bloody glory supporter now. What are we talking about? Oh, God. Kazuchika Okada's got a new theme. I did like Don Callis walking out with the 2 belts.
Yeah, it was instantly ruined.
Yeah. You're a bitch. It's a song, apparently. That's all people saying. Oh, what's this?
This was
Bad is what it is.
Multifarious failure because Okada's always going to be Okada in AEW. He's never going to feel like the New Japan Okada in AEW. It's always going to be the selective thing where, depending on what he's doing and how much he cares, you'll probably see the silhouette of the old Okada. It's fine. It's what it is. I've accepted it. But when he feels like Okada, he feels like Okada. And the theme has so much to do with it. It does so much in the way of heavy lifting. This is like, honestly, I could scarcely believe what I was listening to. It was almost so surreal that A, they would change it, and B, change it into this specifically, that I could never hum it on the spot right now. I can't even remember. I just remember bad butt rock.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just need to hear it a few times. Who knows? And I'll be holding my hands up. This sounded like WWE had just promoted someone from Deep South Wrestling and put them on the main roster on SmackDown in 2007, and that was the theme tune. And it was Kazuchika Okada.
Is there a rule in wrestling that you can't go, right, this person's got a bad theme, let's change it? They have to go, right, well, we'd really like to change this person's bad theme, but unfortunately, we have to hit the wheel of randomness, like our bloody games that we play. Yeah. And they go, well, fingers crossed it's that theme. Change Kazuchika Okada's theme. What are we doing? We didn't need to do that.
Maybe Okada was bored.
Maybe. I reckon it might have come from him, because there's no reason that anyone...
No reason.
Give me a reason.
This is so bizarre. You can only... Why would you take as well such a... Like Tony Khan, does he have amazing taste in music? The themes in AEW are great, and to an extent he has, right? Not that it's all up to him. The wrestler will say, I want this, and he goes, that sounds great. Like, so he's given Orange Cassidy, Where Is My Mind? That's great.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of cool, great themes in AEW. That was Cassidy's before AEW, so, that was just more like a request fulfilled than something he's had the idea to do,
Carry On My Wayward Son.
That would be the Elites. You can say yes to things, you know? It doesn't really matter, I guess. Why would you, when your basic approach, by the way, to this Dynamite is, it's not only Wild Swings angle-wise, it's just trying to kind of reflect on the night and keep that in everyone's minds and thoughts as we navigate past All In Texas. It was a pretty safe show, it's fair to say. Why on this kind of safe show, too safe for some, have you taken the wildest swing imaginable?
Especially with what you're about to set up, because everyone, it mostly is talking about that.
Yeah.
But it is also now like, he's got the weird crap theme now, isn't he? Because, like, what happened is Rafael Quintero got battered. Big boot dropkick Rainmaker, obviously squash. Post-match, Callis says Okada's got something to say. And Okada says, Swerve Strickland, you screwed my friends, the Young Bucks, you bitch. And Swerve's music hits. Nana comes out doing his dance. And, Swerve gets in there and says, what are you going to do about it, bitch? And they retreat. So they're setting up Swerve and Okada, which is really exciting.
Well, is it? I liked Swerve here. What are you going to do about it, bitch? I mean, it's very Route 1 and how you talk to Kazuchika Okada these days, but his delivery meant it. I felt it. I believed it. It's already kind of like, what the hell is that song? What are we doing with that song? You know what else that song reminded me of? Or like made me realize the music's not loud enough. Turn that bitch up. Generally.
Yeah.
Generally turn it up.
This one goes to 11.
Yeah, turn it up there. I was thinking, this is a cool direction. Why am I not that high? Okada and Swerve have had a match on Dynamite before, and it was mid.
I remember your concerns going into it as well.
Mid.
Because you said, unorthodox.
Bit of a ugly styles clash. It was. I remember thinking that was a desperate disappointment. Was it Dynamite 250?
Pretty much a year ago.
I've just checked, and I think I saw the 250 logo in the background. But it had a match last year, and it really wasn't very good at all. Not what you'd expect, given their respective big match catalogs, put it that way. But they said, or they floated out there in the press, the media, the dirt sheets picked it up. They want this unified to be as close to the world title as one of their secondary belts has gotten. Swerve Okada feels big. It does feel big. I don't think it'll be that good, to be fair.
And imagine,
but it's big.
If they do that match, let's say just at Forbidden Door next show they've got coming up. Imagine they do that and Swerve wins, unified champion. And he'd be like, God, I'm in London. Let's go party. And then he'd be like, oh God, got that prior arrangement, of course. It's a shame that, because I'd really love to go and party with like fans and stuff, and Nana's going to be there, and Nigel McGuinness is going to be there, and probably that ginger twat from WhatCulture is going to be there, because he's coming to Sweet Chin Disco, the Forbidden Dow after party, which is in the Indigo too. And if he's thinking, oh bloody hell, that's going to be, I'm knackered after facing Okada. I've got to trek from the O2 to where this bloody venue is. Well, Swerve, if you're watching this, it's in the O2, mate. It's in the Indigo 2, which is in the dome, Millennium Dome thing. They don't call it anymore. But if you want to join Swerve, me and Nana and a few others for that, get your tickets at Dice.fm. And if you're not going to that show, if you're going to Glasgow and you want to go to the Dynamite after party, that's available as well, Dice.fm. If you're going to join any of the WWE shows, apart from the Newcastle one, because that's the same night as Forbidden Door, Dice.fm for tickets for that as well. Seamless. Main event time. It was Hangman Adam Page, the world champion, one of the trios champions, Powerhouse Hobbs and Mark Briscoe versus the Death Riders. I did like the entrance of the Death Riders here from the bowels of the building. Yeah. Hobbs obviously not pleased with Claudio from what happened at All In, so he batters Castagnoli early on. Some meat lariats in the corner. Page comes in. I like the way he's just hobbling through this match because, I understand.
He did a great job selling because he kind of didn't because at the start I was like, oh my God, is he okay? Is he okay?
Yeah.
But he was obviously selling somehow the fact that I was in this violent match, one of the most violent matches in AEW history and all the rest of it. Kind of half forgot. And I was like, oh, thank God he was just selling.
So many other businesses, is there, that you have to be like, absolutely wreck yourself. And then sometimes the next night, do it again.
Yeah, do it again, bro.
Like, footballers would be like, I'm injured. I'm not playing that game. And like, if you think like big fighters, for example, they don't go, probably have another fight next night, if anything. Yeah. Yuta comes in, immediately gets beaten up. There's fast tags from Mark Briscoe and Hobbs. Very reluctant Moxley on the ring apron. You talked about his facial expressions throughout this. He sort of retreats as we head to a commercial. When we come back, Hobbs catches a diving Yuta. Moxley grabs his hair and then immediately regrets this fact. Hobbs goes after Yuta, but Marina Shafir stands in his way. That allows Claudio to hit a chop block, and Marina Shafir gets some cheap shots in. She just sort of paintbrushes Hobbs right in front of the referee, but Moxley sinks in a rear naked choke, sends Hobbs into the steps. Claudio hits a giant swing on Hobbs, and Mox finally enters the match, hits one boot, and then decides, I'm going to go out again, tags in Yuta. Hobbs comes back with a snap power slam, hot tag to Briscoe, who runs wild, as chops to Moxley, and Claudio strikes. Yuta distracts the ref, allowing Shafir to jump in and rake the eyes of Briscoe as we go to another break. When we come back, Moxley gets a cheap shot in on Page before hitting a pile driver on Briscoe. Yuta and Claudio swarm Hobbs ringside. That leaves Briscoe isolated, but he bites free from a superplex, shotgun drop kick, and there's a huge reaction as Hangman Page gets a hot tag. Again, limping all over, but still dropping Yuta with a pop-up powerbomb for 2. They try the heels for a doomsday device, but Page lands on his feet, sends Claudio to the outside. Briscoe hits a dive. Page hits an Orihara moonsault, wants the buckshot, but Moxley gets in there and rakes the eyes. He walks into a spine buster. Yuta runs in with a Busaiku knee. Briscoe hits a froggy bow. Claudio ducks a buckshot, tries to the neutralizer, but Page jackknifes him for the 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Moxley and the Death Riders continue the beatdown, but there's Darby Allin in the rafters, and that distraction allows the babyface to recover. Page flips back in with a buckshot lariat to take out Jon Moxley and celebrates with the babyfaces to close out this show.
I guess with this, I was waiting for, like, the point.
Yes.
I was, action-wise, I was pretty bored for the first 2/3 of this, like, pretty bored. And I guess it's because I was maybe just thinking, why are we doing this? I don't know. It just felt like, and I didn't think the action was all that stellar. It was fine, obviously, with the people involved. It's not going to be bad, but I just wasn't really thrilled by it. It's like, I guess I was just thinking, well, this must be a backdrop to something.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. They need to start really promoting the fact that Darby Allin climbed Mount Everest. They really need to start promoting that. It's just such a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
If he's kept a video diary, which hopefully he hasn't just lugged his phone up the entire way to just cut that 10 seconds. He should have, if he's mapped it the entire time, maybe he himself could do the short film, because that's what he's great at. One of the things he's great at. Either way, that's by the by. It's good that he's back. But as you say, we knew that already. Didn't like the production choice either. It's fine for him to be in the rafters like Sting. I don't think we need the bells and whistles production around Darby Allin. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
I don't think he's got mystique. I think he can be Sting adjacent with, like, I don't know, just don't give him a big presentation with it.
It's weird as well to do, like, bloody hell, I didn't expect to see you here. We've seen him 4 days ago or whatever.
Yeah, aye. A few odd choices. Moxley was outstanding here.
He was, wasn't he?
The amount of what he's got so much out of so little. Like, I was fascinated watching how he reacted to what little things he did do when he did the few things he did do. It's like, he looks like
His confidence is gone, hasn't it?
like the look he gave to Powerhouse Hobbs, but he did it in such an understated way. I thought he was magnificent. It was just weird, right? So you got the Page Moxley thing at the end, but yet again, they didn't really do much together in the match. Why build the match around the delayed gratification of them two interacting when you've got the ultimate catharsis happened already, all in Texas? You know what I mean? Can't really build that one anymore in the body of one quite middling trios match by AEW standards. I don't know, I just thought...
It got echoes. If you remember, like, back in the day, they'd have, like, a big WrestleMania match. Someone would take the title off someone, Batista and Triple H or whatever, and then half the time they'd be like, but they're running it back at Backlash. Why?
Yeah.
Not going to change back, is it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get that. I get where you're coming from with that, but I did like, you got Hangman Page hobbling around the ring, still kicking ass, obviously. You got Mox selling the injuries, but the most notable one is, like, the big plaster on his forehead where he's obviously been jabbed with the fork. And he's just so unsure of himself.
His expressions, his eyes were magnificent.
It's good stuff. It's the most I've liked Mox in a long time.
Yeah, no, he's been incredible.
But let us know your thoughts on AEW Dynamite in the comment section below, or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Well, actually, you can follow both of us. You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
Follow me at Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. For now, though, this has been the Dynamite Review. My thanks to Michael Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.